Welcome to Vicky's Fabrics. I am Miley Bloxham, and this is Paradise. This is block 6 because we did 2 light blocks and now we're doing 2 dark blocks in a row. Okay, we're going to start today with flying geese. Your flying geese, we're doing 2 different colors, fabric 7 and 10 and fabric 11 and 12. Okay, so we're going to start with squares. This is a 5.5 inch square and this is a 3 1/8 inch square. We're going to cut the 5.5 inch square into quarters, and we're going to cut the 3 1/8 inch square into half. Okay. We are going to take these and start sewing on one side, lining up the bottom, sewing up, pressing out, and then we're going to sew the other side from the bottom up, and then we press in so that the seams chase each other. Okay, so pressing out and then pressing in. We are going to be making 4 of these and 4 of these, and then we are going to sew them this time so that the bases are together. And what's nice is if you've chased the seams all the same way, these are going to butt together, okay, and your seam is going to be very, very flat. In fact, sometimes if you want it, if you really like flat seams, this is a time to press your seam open as opposed to one side. Okay, that's going to give you a really flat seam in there with very little bulk. Okay, so you're going to be making 4 of these. These are our flying geese units this time, sewing the middle. Okay. Next, we're going to do half square triangles. These are going to be done with fabric number 12 and fabric number 8. These are 3 1/4 inch squares. You're going to put them on top of each other. You're going to mark your center, sew a 1/4 inch on either side, and then when you cut these in half, you are going to have half square triangles. You are going to be making 8 of these. I like to press to the dark, okay, and then to square because these are oversized. You're going to line up your diagonal on the 2.5 inch square on the square and a square tool, and trim, turn, and trim. Now you will be making, again, 8 of these, and what I like to do before sewing 4 patches together is line everything up in the order that I'm going to sew them so I can keep everything straight. Okay, because otherwise wackiness can ensue. Okay, so these are going to be done today by having the fabric number 8s on the inside, having fabric number 13 on top and 12 on the bottom. Okay, so you're making kind of these hourglass shape in the middle, and you'll be making 4 of these. 3 and 4. Our last component is going to be our square in a square unit. We're going to be using fabric number 11 and fabric number 7. So you're going to start with your 3 3/8 inch square, and then you're going to have 2 3 1/8 inch squares, which you're going to cut in half. You're going to line up the middles, how we've been doing all this time, by folding your square in half, folding your triangles, laying them on the middle. I'm going to demonstrate with the second set of triangles. We're going to fold this in half. Okay. You're going to fold your triangles in half. Put that fold right on the middle there. Sew these on. To get your square in a square unit, you're going to be doing a good 1/4 inch seam. These are going to be oversized. They're going to be outside what you need, and you're going to use your square in a square ruler to line up the horizontal and vertical. So I will let you know on this one, I am a little off. Technically, because I'm doing this again and again, I would actually make a new one, or I would actually make this just tinier because I am actually almost halfway into my 1/4 inch on this block. So I'm actually not going to trim this in front of you. I'm going to redo this because I'm doing this again and again and again, but that's okay. This is your square in a square center. You're going to take your flying geese components and you are going to put your fabric 7 towards the middle. We're making our 9 patch again. So those are there. And then you're going to be taking your 4 patch corners and you are putting all of fabric 13, the dark, to the outside. Okay. So technically, I've got a big frame of 13 on the outside and the rest of your square unit in the middle. I will be really honest. These components are pretty interchangeable. Okay. So I'm just going to be a little crazy today and turn some of these around. This is totally up to you. I think as long as you're consistent in your turning, meaning I wouldn't do like one this way and all the others the other way. I would have, you know, all 4 of number 11 on the inside. Or if I wanted, in this case, you know, the spots and the darker on the outside, you can do that. This is totally your quilt. And in this case, this center square changes. Okay? You can be creative. You can follow instructions. All these units are fairly interchangeable. Okay? But have fun. Even if you don't do it right now for this quilt or at this moment, putting it together, these patterns can be used again and again in your quilting with different fabrics to make different and interesting quilt blocks. Okay, these are really functional building blocks. And now that you have the skills to be really, really creative. I usually take my favorite quilt block from the pattern set that we get and do a whole quilt using that block. So hopefully in a few months you'll see something fun. Okay, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month.